So I was actually going to start up this video the way I always do, you know, greeting you guys to the channel, letting you guys know, hey, this is the reaction we're getting to and all that stuff. And I'm sitting here about to record. I just finished doing my kind of like my little bit of research of rewatching the last batch of episodes, thinking over everything that I talked about in the last discussion, obviously because the new format you guys really, really liked, and I was really nervous that, you know, the reaction that I did last week was a 25-minute intro of my thoughts, my theories, having a conversation and a discussion with you guys over everything that I learned about watching back the last 4 episodes of my previous reaction and kind of just delivering my thought process to you guys of the story as it's continuing. And I just finished doing it again, so this is everything that I put together for episodes 5 through 8. And I'm really just blown away by how profound this show is, right? Like, I can't believe I did an hour reaction last week, even if you cut out the first 25 minutes, because the first 25 minutes was basically a recap of my thoughts of the first 4 episodes. So basically cutting out 20 minutes, you know, it was still a 40-minute video where I was watching the episodes, doing my reactions, and I was stopping numerous times to kind of reflect on what I just watched, whether it was a past event of Project Freelancer or a current event with what's going on with Epsilon. And then I even had a discussion at the end of it, and you would have thought that, hey, yeah, okay, I covered everything that I wanted to talk about because, you know, I was stopping, you know, as I was watching. And then I do almost an entire page of additional stuff that I want to talk about. And it's kind of crazy how, you know, like this is kind of the gist of what I do with RWBY. But like for Red versus Blue, I feel like it's so much more in depth. Like it's way, like the story is way more profound and deep than I think RWBY has gotten a chance to get to. And I don't know if RWBY will ever reach this level of storytelling when it comes to like really paying attention to every line, every delivery, like every single thing, every scene, every word uttered, everything. And I'm just baffled. I'm just baffled right now by like, I'm looking over everything. I'm like, okay, this is everything that I want to talk about with you guys. And going back and not only watching episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8, but I actually went back and rewatched everything from episodes 1 to 8 to kind of see the experience as, you know, as an entire piece. And I think I'm going to do that again by the time I finish season 9 for my, you know, my season 9 review. But I think like this show is incredible. And from like everything that I just learned from like the notes, like I said, we're going to get into it, but obviously I guess I'll give you guys a formal intro. Thank you guys again for joining the channel. I'm Murder Birds. We're going to be getting into episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12 for my reaction of Red vs. Blue Season 9. Of course, the intro portion is going to be my thoughts, theories, speculations, discussion, and my overall thought process of the last batch of episodes that I watched to kind of have a good foundation and a good base going into these next 4 episodes. So the first thing that I need to talk about, because this was something that if you go back to episodes 5 through 8 and you read my comment section, I have like over 300 comments at this point. If you go and read those, a good portion of those comment section is telling me how I got the word, how I mispronounced a certain word. So I was talking about the little cup that the coffee dude had, that it had the term Charon Industries on, and I guess a lot of people were like a lot of people like went to the comments to correct me on that. It's actually not pronounced Charon Industries, it's pronounced Charon Industries, and I really hope I'm pronouncing it right that way because everyone was like on my ass about making sure I pronounced it right. And you know, normally I would have been like, oh my gosh, this is so annoying, but obviously you guys want me to have it right, and obviously I want to be correct in my pronunciation, especially of something that's important to the story. So it's actually Charon Industries, and I guess it derives from, like, similarly to, like, Greek mythology, if people were telling me, Charon, like, the ferryman of the underworld in Greek mythology. And the thing that I want to explain to you guys when it comes to my pronunciation of certain terms is usually it comes down to, if I've never heard the word in my life, I kind of wing it, right? Like, I've never heard the name Charon before. Like, I looked at it and I was like, Charon. So me reading that reading that name for the first time, not knowing that the H is silent, that's how I basically pronounced it. So if there's ever a point in time where I like just butcher a pronunciation, it's probably because I've never heard the word used. I've seen the word before because I know a fair bit about Greek mythology, but I've never heard it read out like in a book or something like that, or an audio book, or like in person or in a video or something like that. So Charon Industries was my first attempt at pronouncing the word that I've never heard used properly. So that's basically the big reason why that was the case. And again, like I said, I know a lot of you guys were really trying to help me out at the end of the day. Like, that was your good intentions, and I appreciate it. I just wanted to let you guys know how many people were like adamant about letting me know that I pronounced it wrong, and some people were like, okay, I don't want to be that guy, but you pronounced it wrong. It's actually pronounced like this. So thank you guys very much for helping me. So officially getting into the discussion of the previous batch, I'll also put a timestamp for those of you who just want to jump straight to the reaction. I think it's been evident that a lot of people, there is definitely a divide of people who prefer these long-winded discussions at the beginning and at the end of my reaction, and then there are some people who might not have time, or some people who are uninterested. I just prefer to kind of do these long-winded discussions because I never want to get to the point where somebody in like a random person who's commenting, mentions, hey, you didn't pay attention to this point or this moment, and, it's very evident and clear that, like, you didn't watch the beginning or the end of my reaction, you just watched the reaction, that's another reason why I do these discussion bits at the beginning and the end, so that way I can pick up on what I missed out on if I'm, like, if it goes over my head, or if my excitement, like, causes me to miss something on screen. I don't want you guys to think that I'm just brushing through the series. Like, my ass is doing homework every freaking week for this show. I don't do that for a lot of shows, believe it or not. Like Ruby and Red vs. Blue are the only shows that I've ever really, like, weekly pen and paper, like, rewatching episodes, like, remembering lines, writing down information, and making sure that I have it down to the T of understanding, like, so that way I can get the full story by the end of it. So, like, I treat this show with an incredible amount of respect, more so than ever, especially with how deep it's getting with season 9 and 10, and obviously the Chorus trilogy and everything else in the future of the show. So, I want this to be a staple, and a lot of people were also telling me, and I'm rambling now, a lot of people were also telling me, like, I shouldn't be apologetic for rambling. And the big reason for that, for me personally, is, like, it's 2018, and unfortunately, we live in a time and an era where people are more susceptible to TLDRs and summaries, and, basically getting the headlines of something versus actually taking the time to kind of invest themselves in something. So for me personally, I feel that, like, if I ramble, people get bored easily in 2018. So, like, that's another thing too, like, the summaries, TLDRs, and people get bored incredibly easily. So I feel like my rambling could cause some people to lose interest, of my reactions, even though they do enjoy my, me getting into this show. And that's why I apologize, because I don't ever want someone to feel bored, or someone to feel like they're wasting their time hearing me ramble about a show that's like 8 seasons ahead of where I'm at right now. You know what I mean? So I ultimately just always try to relay, like, I know there are some people out there that really don't care about this. I know that there are some people that are, but at the end of the day, I want your time is valuable, basically. Like, your time is valuable. Like, obviously, if you guys have an hour to spend watching a video of mine, that's an hour that could be spent doing something else, taking care of your family, making money, working, playing video games, doing your own thing, instead of wasting, quote unquote, wasting time, like, listening to me ramble for 90% of a video. So that's really the big reason why I'm so self-deprecating when it comes to apologizing to you guys about my passion and watching this show, and giving you guys every part of my brain, when it comes to my thought process of it. So that's the big reason why I apologize as much as I do. I will try to tone it down a bit more and kind of see and understand that there are those of you who love that. Like, you guys would eat that shit up every week if I made a video, an hour-long video, dedicated to Red versus Blue or Ruby, you know what I mean? And I just have to kind of understand that I am providing quality for people out there, and it's not just a wasteless effort of rambling and just coherent, like, spouting incoherent, being incoherent at the end of the day. So thank you guys very much for helping me out with that, and that's something that I'll definitely take with me moving forward. So as I told you guys, I did my homework for episodes 5 through 8. These are all the notes that I have right here. I'm obviously going to be going down each one individually to kind of get my overall thoughts out there before we move into episode 9, 10, 11, and 12. So initially, the big thing that where this takes place in the timeline of Project Freelancer relative to the present day events with the Reds and Blues is this is kind of like the early stages of Project Freelancer. I'm not sure if Project Freelancer's overall objective is the creation of additional artificial intelligence, through the alpha. But this is definitely pre-AI timeline. I mentioned that briefly in my last reaction, and some people were unaware if I knew that or not, so I'm kind of fleshing that out now. There are no artificial intelligence, at least out in the wild or attached to a freelancer companion as of yet. That's very evident for the fact that Tex is a freelancer and she is not on the freelancer leaderboards. And that's understandable because she is a byproduct of the alpha's creation. So, and she's eventually, she eventually becomes the beta program. So she is not fully realized at this point, and because the alpha has not been tortured yet, at least I don't think he's been tortured yet, with the whole break-in thing that, Tex mentions. Yeah, because Tex leads the break-in to free the alpha from being tortured by the director for the creation of more AI. So by that logic and by that continuity, that would then mean that the AI aren't created yet. So I kind of wanted you guys to just understand that I know that that's the case. And so I jumped the gun a little bit when I saw North use his bubble shield a couple episodes back, because for the longest time, I would say, like, I always thought, like, an AI was synonymous with an armor ability, right? Like, if the armor ability is the lock, then the AI was the key to then using that ability to its full capacity. So, and I felt like that for a long time. I was always iffy on if I had the full understanding of that, like, from the Blood Gulch Chronicles as far back, you know what I mean? So, for the most part, basically, you can use an armor ability on its own, but it's very taxing on the user. And basically, what an artificial intelligence does, I guess it increases the optimization of an ability, and it relieves a lot of those taxing effects on the user. So Theta has not yet been paired up with North. None of these other freelancers have gotten their AI as of yet. Hopefully, we get to see that between maybe during season 9, if not season 10, because that's when the Project Freelancer really gets off on a really like takes off, and that's basically the entirety of the project, for basically the past events. And, like I said, we're seeing a lot of the interactions of the freelancers with each other, but I'd really love to see how the freelancers interact with their artificial intelligence, similar to, for example, how York and Delta kind of had their, basically their companionship. I'd really love to see that with the other freelancers, so I'm looking forward to that. So a lot of these things that I did write down are not only based on my research of going back, rewatching, and noticing things for myself, but picking up on a few of the comments that you guys did leave, because I did upload the previous reaction a day early before I'm sitting down to record this. So the original models, so basically the renders for characters like the director, the counselor, and basically the original renders for North and South, for example, are original. They are not ripped from the video game of the Halo games and repurposed for the Halo story, which is really cool. And it seems, and I found this to be really funny, like how artificial intelligence are based on an actual human, like are based on a person, are based on a human mind. It appears that some of these original models were based on actual people. So I found out that South Dakota's, like, her appearance is based on Griffin Ramsey, which at the time that, this was out, like season 9 was out, she was the wife of Jeff Ramsey. They're no longer together now, but, like, I thought that was really cool. And then when someone told me that, I instantly saw her. I was like, wow, that is her. Like, it looks just like her, like, probably with longer hair at the time. But I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm not sure if, like, every freelancer we see who has like an original design, if they are based on someone who worked on Red vs. Blue or someone who works at Rooster Teeth or whatever, but I thought that was really cool. Sam Ireland makes her Rooster Teeth debut, and I felt so bad when I went back and researched and found out, like, okay, who voices CT, and like in my reaction I was like, is that Aaron Zek? And it turned out to be Samantha Ireland, who does the voice of Nora Valkyrie from Ruby, and I met her at RTX 2016 along with Jen Brown Brown, and she is a delight. I absolutely love her. She is so sweet. She is so nice. It was so great to meet her at RTX as well. Like, I gave her a hug and everything like that, and I love, like, the work she does for Nora, and I had no idea she was in Red vs. Blue, because unlike Jen Brown, who I knew she was in Red vs. Blue, I didn't know that Sam was, and I wonder if we're going to see more of CT, because, you know, we saw CT in the desert, but it sounded like a guy, and then we see CT now, and it's a girl, but it seems like she, like, left. I don't know if she just, like, went AWOL for freelancers, and she's like, screw this, I'm out of here. I hope she becomes more, you know, more relevant in the overall story. Hopefully we get to see her down the line, you know, along with like Maine and Wyoming and stuff like that, and, you know, Florida and any other freelancers that we haven't really seen yet as far as, you know, the last 9 seasons, or rather the last 8 seasons. So I was really happy to see her. So she voices Connie, aka CT, and CT's kind of, she's basically woke. Like, she has the understanding of what's really going on with the director and Project Freelancer, and she, at her current state, she is what Washington eventually becomes basically on a mental level, like internally, like how they view the director, how they view the AI, how they view Project Freelancer, and like basically what they're doing here. Because by the end of it, you know, Washington is pretty innocent right now, naive, so to speak. Like, he's like, oh, the director's helping us, and, you know, we owe him everything, and, you know, this is a team effort, and everyone's a part of it. Like, whereas in the future, you know, like, post season 7 or season 6, he's like, I've been shot in the back, I've been lied to, I've been left for dead, I've been used and abused, fuck all this shit, I'm out of here. So it's a very big contrast for Washington in particular, how he is now with season 9 and 10 being a prequel story, to where he is currently, you know, post season 6, season 7, season 8 with, you know, with basically he's off the loose, like he's off the leash now for the Project Freelancer, because he basically faked his death. So I found that to be really exciting, to kind of understand how everything comes together and correlating the past with the future. So I really hope that we do get to see, like I said, Maine, York, Washington, Florida, like all of the freelancers that we didn't really get a lot of extended time with up until this point from the previous seasons. I really want to be able to see York in particular and Delta, because they were only in the mini-series. They weren't even in like the main Blood Gulch Chronicles seasons. And then they died in the same mini-series that they were introduced. So, and, you know, York, I think, is number 2 on the list. So he's like a badass, you know what I mean? And we got to see a lot of what he was capable of in the mini-series with Tex. So I really do hope that we get to see a little bit more of them moving forward. Again, more of the companionship between York and Delta. That would be really awesome, especially since we've seen Delta here and there in the forms of Epsilon's memory fragments since his passing after season 6. But I really, really, really hope that we get to see a lot of these other AI. One neat tidbit. I need to talk about this really quick. And this is why I started off my video. I started the video off initially with the whole, you know, basically starting off the whole video with like how blown away I am by the depth and the level and the layers of storytelling and the layers of context clues, and how everything really comes back together to tell an incredible story so far, for Red versus Blue. And again, I don't know how Bernie did it. I have no idea how Bernie did it. And apparently he did the first 10 seasons. So season 9 and season 10 are definitely attributed, you know, with the last big arc that he played a part in directly as, you know, the main writer of the show. This tidbit right here that I want to show you, this clip that I want to show you right here, really blew me away. And it put into perspective a lot of the questions that I was questioning during the first batch reactions for season 9. Check it out.
Send her in.
Roger that. Come in, number 1. Number 1, you are green.
Activate failsafe.
Copy, sir. Initiating beta portal. Initiating beta portal. Initiating beta portal. Initiating beta portal.
I knew it. I knew there was a connection between Tex and Carolina, because that fake out of making it seem like making it seem like, well, I use Allison and Tex interchangeably, but using Tex, we know who Tex is. We know she has black armor. We know she's a badass. We know she's a freelancer. We know she can kick ass and take names. They faked out Tex at the beginning with Carolina, right? She had black armor. We didn't know, like, they have similar armor abilities. Like, one is active camouflage and one of them is reactive camouflage, I think. Like, one of them is actually invisibility, whereas the other one is like a chameleon. Like, they blend into their environment. And I was like, why are they so similar? Right? And it's strange because we know that Tex is an AI. She's the beta AI, and AI are based on a human mind. And I want to say that she's based on the minds of Allison, basically the director's lost love. But what's strange here is that he says, activate failsafe, initiating beta program. So they're both female. They're both like badasses, so to speak. They both have similar abilities. Is he basing... It's weird because, like I just said, an AI is based off a human mind, and I want to say that she's based off of Allison. But can an AI be based on more than one person? Like, can she also be based on Carolina? You know what I mean? Like when her armor was black, for example, was he sampling what Carolina was doing to make, because she's the best freelancer, right? To then make his beta model of Tex on equal footing to his best freelancer, right? Like, I don't know if that's possible, but like, why would he activate a failsafe right as Carolina is about to go in on all of these grunts, and she has the same armor color that eventually becomes what Tex's armor color becomes? And he's like I want to say he was like sampling her fighting to be like, okay, that's what I like. Take those core concepts of Carolina and implement that into the beta program for when she eventually becomes her own self-realized, freelancer known as Tex. I want to say that that's what he was doing. Because it doesn't make, and then like she does the flip and she lands and then it changes to her color, and then it's like, okay, so he got all the sample data that he wanted when her armor was black, and then when she turned back to her normal color, it's like, okay, well that's Carolina like putting in work now. So I'm wondering if they're like, I'm missing, I don't know. They're very similar in that respect. So that's all I was able to really figure out. Like, and that was actually told to me. Someone was like, hey, I'm not going to say anything, but go back and watch this scene of, I think it was episode 2 or 3. He's like, go back and listen to this particular line here. Listen to this particular timestamp point. And I was like, okay. And I didn't. I was like Tex is technically in season 9 already. Like, Tex is basically, in a sense, she has a presence in season 9 already in the form of a failsafe program. I just don't know how or what exactly it was that he was doing. That's my best guess, is that he was sampling Carolina to kind of make a copy of her in the form of his wife, so, or, his lover or whatever. So that tidbit really blew me away with how well Bernie was able to kind of implement these little bits, these little nuggets that make sense at the end of it. Because then you're gonna be like, well, then where the hell did where did Tex come from? Like, it's not like nothing. It's not like anything just was thrown at you and it didn't have context. It's very subtle. Just like the Charon Industries, I'm pretty sure that's going to be relevant down the line. And it's very subtle. It's just like a cup falling and breaking. But if you notice the logo, it'll probably play into itself. It'll probably have relevance down the line. So I thought that was incredible. That was really like my first big wow factor of like, holy shit, like this story's like really good, like incredibly good. Like, things like this don't really happen in RWBY. You know what I mean? And I know it took like, what, 9 years to kind of get this part of the story off its feet and basically on its own 2 legs. And RWBY's still very young, you know what I mean? They're going into their 6th season, and it's a lot shorter than I think Red vs. Blue is, even though Red vs. Blue was kind of like the pioneer of what led to it. But I really hope RWBY is able to kind of have those same type of, basically that same type of like creative storytelling and set pieces that really make a big impact down the line. So I was really impressed by that. And speaking on weaving set pieces, kind of talking about the director for a quick second here. This is more so not really related to the director himself, but basically we can kind of understand his mindset and really, like, his motivation, so to speak, based on something. I wasn't able to figure out the comment that left it, but someone was like, go do some research on what the ship is called. And I remember, I think it was my first batch of episodes that I did for season 9, like episodes 1 through 4. The ship is called Mother of Invention. And I just like read it off. I was like, okay, Mother of Invention. Okay, it's a pretty interesting name. But then I looked into it, and that's actually a proverb. So Mother of Invention comes from the proverb, necessity is the mother of invention, which basically means like the driving force for inventions or creation of anything is a need. Like, people don't go out and make shit just to make shit. They make shit because there's a need, there's a demand for it. For whether it's for production value or, whether it's for the sake of production or the sake of livelihood or whatever the case might be. People don't go out and invent and innovate for the sake of innovating. They do it to provide a need to others, a necessity to others. So it seems like the director kind of, and that's what the ship is called, and they are within the ship. So I would think that, like, the director kind of views his motivations, or like his mindset is like his project, his freelancers, his AI, all of these resources that he's putting into the project overall for this whole goal of, I assume they're, like, because this took place many years ago, I assume they're in the midst of the Alien War, the Great War that he mentioned in his in his memo to the director. So I assume that they're in the midst of this Alien War. And because of that, like, it's like what he mentioned in the memo to the director. He was like, I believe that it is undeniable and may I say a fundamental quality of man that when faced with extinction, every alternative is preferable or preferable, whatever. And like, that's what he's doing. Like, he sees himself, he sees his freelancers, he sees his AI, he sees his resources, he sees everything that he's doing as the necessity. He's like, we're the necessity. So he's building everything else around that for the continuity of mankind. And that's the thing that I never really understood, right? Like, people really let their feelings get in the way too much when it comes to necessity, what needs to be done, right? You're talking about an alien war that has the potential to eradicate humans, mankind, from existence. And I don't think people would, like, people like the chairman, for example, he values protocol, and like, in the memo, it seemed like he valued protocol, he valued guidelines, he valued, being above order, like, being, sticking to the code and not breaking the rules over, like, if we don't do this, we're going to die. And it's like, the number one trait that we have as a species is to survive. Like, that's, continuity of our species matters more than anything. Like, it doesn't matter how you feel about me breaking the rules to make these AI for my project. I don't care if you think that, me basically, and I'm speaking in terms of the director, like, I don't care if you think, like, me using my AI and torturing my AI, thus technically torturing myself because he's based on me, matters more than the fact that we're standing here having this argument because of those risks that I took, right? And that right there, it's like they're having this argument, and the only reason you're able to have this argument is because he went to the lengths that he did to ensure that you survived. And I don't know, I feel like in 2018 especially, people let feelings get in the way too much over, like, someone's got to get their hands dirty. Someone's got to get their hands dirty. Someone has to do what someone else won't. And I'm not saying that like I'm not like that. I'm obviously not saying like that should be your excuse for why you do anything. It's like, I had to do it, no one else would. But like, when it comes to that level of severity, like, hey, if we don't do something, our entire race is done. you should be fine with that. That should be the least of your worries. So I find it really fascinating that the director has this really, not righteous, but like he just has this, his moral sense of like what he's doing is above what anyone else thinks if they think he's wrong. Because at the end of the day, he sees himself as a necessity, and he sees his freelancers and his AI and his workers and his crew and everything he's doing as a necessity. Now, if this is all a ruse for him to have this ultimate goal for whatever he wanted, you know, for his plans for, you know, for his wife, for Allison, and for Tex, because it seems like that could be an ulterior motive. That's one thing. It's like, okay, well, you're really doing all this for your own side agenda here. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's putting himself out there. I think in his memo, he was like, he never was able to serve in the war, and he never had that chance. He's doing it as well, but in a different way. You know, he's putting himself out there like, he's like, okay, I'm going to create this existential creation based on myself, and I'm going to torture it, and I'm going to put it through hell, and it's not going to make me feel any better, but I'm doing that because that's how he contributes. That's how he contributes to what everyone else does, putting themselves out there on the front line, and I don't fucking know. You know, like, I don't know if anything that I'm saying is true. This is everything that I've been able to gather because I haven't even been able, we don't even know what the guy looks like. Like, we know what he looks like, but we haven't even seen his face yet. Like, so we haven't gotten anything on the director yet, like from his perspective, other than the memos that he sent to the oversight subcommittee chairman. So like, other than that, like if I'm on the ball when it comes to my impressions of who the director is, it really shows why I love Church so much, because I loved Church from Blood Gulch, and by proxy I love Epsilon because he's the memories of that church. And then by proxy, I love the director because he, in turn, is the basis of the original church, of the memories. You know, it's like an endless loop. Like they're all one. And you know, Dr. Leonard Church might be my favorite character in the series as we continue. Who knows? But I love that. I just love, like, again, another set piece that's put in there that really makes you think. It's just a fucking name. It's just mother of invention. And like, necessity is the mother of invention. And then you're able to just take that concept and expand it to who you think this character is. If he's basing his ship, you know, basing, like, his HQ, his headquarters, his base of operations around all of that, based on the name alone. So I thought that was incredible. Love how that works. Two more things that I'll talk about. I want to talk about the season 9 trailer. At this point, like I said, I'm going to watch episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12 today. A lot of people are telling me to watch season 9 trailer. I was going to wait until I finish season 9 to watch it because I don't know what the trailer has in it. I don't know if the trailer is like a traditional trailer, like where it shows you stuff that you're going to see in the season. I don't know if it's a trailer like, say, the Season 7 trailer, which felt like its own extended episode, or the Season 6 trailer, which was basically episode 0 to Season 6. What Georgia did tell me is she said that Season 9, it's iffy. It's iffy for spoilers. If it depends on how you look at spoilers or how you value or what you feel a spoiler is. But she also ruled it out as non-canon. So that was another reason why I didn't really feel the need to kind of focus on it right before the season started. But based on the influx of people like telling me like, yo, I really wish you had watched the season 9 trailer before you started. And some people are still, even right now, they're like, hey, please watch it at some point during season 9 before you finish it. I might put my season 9 trailer reaction. My season 9 trailer reaction might come out after this reaction, or it might come out after the next batch. So my next batch is going to be episodes 13, 14, 15, 16, and I think it's going to be my longest reaction. The reaction batch is over 31 minutes, so it's 31 minutes of 5 episodes, not to mention my pre- and post discussions, which I can already picture that video being over an hour long. But Georgia wanted me to have all 5 of those episodes together, because I guess it summarizes an entire plot sequence at once. So like basically if I did 4 out of 5 episodes, like that's one episode that's being missed out. So she decided to put all of that in one episode. So, you know, I'll have all of that at once. So I'll either have the Season 9 trailer reaction next week, or I'll have it the week after that big batch reactions for 13 to 17, just so I can get it out there, and I really am kind of wondering what it entails, because I have no idea what it's like, so I just want you guys to know about that. And the last thing I want to talk about before we jump into the Season 9 batch for episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12, and I feel like this is like already like going on like I think like 30 minutes, which is insane, but again, I know there are those of you out there who would watch it if it was an hour, 2 hours, so I really appreciate it. I want to talk about the freelancer leaderboards, right? So I remember in my reaction last week, I mentioned, I was like, wow, like, Washington's at the bottom of the barrel, right? Because you had Carolina at the top, you had Washington, and then Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, which after last week's batch, that got flipped, so it became Carolina, York, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Washington. But I also forgot that there are 50 freelancers, right? And the reason for that, and you guys really can't, like, you can't blame me for not realizing that, because I feel like we're not going to see majority of those freelancers, right? Aside from the ones I just mentioned, we have Maine, we have Tex, we have CT, we have Florida, and I don't know if we're going to see any other freelancers. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10 freelancers. That's 1/5 of the freelancer list that is potentially out in the Red versus Blue universe that we'll probably never see, right? So in my head, I'm like, well, I don't really see a lot of freelancers like that. So in my head, I was like, well, that's probably all there is. And in a way that the only relevant freelancers, like I said, the top 10, so that's like 6 out of 10 that we'll ever see in the show. So that's my understanding of it. I was like, okay, Washington's at the bottom of the barrel. He's number 6 out of 10 freelancers that we'll probably ever see in the show. So that was my initial understanding. But yes, I do understand that there are 50 freelancers, so technically he was 6 out of 50, which is still really good. One thing that I want to talk about, though, is the ranking system. So it only shows the top 6. So again, Carolina, we know that she gets 2 artificial intelligence. York gets Delta. Wyoming gets Gamma. South doesn't get one. North gets Theta. And Washington gets Epsilon. We don't know if Maine has one. Tex is her own AI, which is strange. Isn't that weird? How is that possible that an AI can also have an additional AI companion, right? Because Tex is the beta, but then she also got Omega. But she wasn't on the list. But she's a special case, so that's completely fine that she's not on the list, because I don't think she's even created yet. And if they're trying to make her become like a Carolina 2.0, then it's very understandable of why the director would give her an AI anyway, because, you know, she's special to him. Like, that's his wife, essentially. So obviously he's going to give her special treatment. CT doesn't end up getting one, I don't think. We never see Florida. I don't know if Maine has one, because Maine basically goes on this mission to unite all of the AI to create, I guess, the alpha again. So I don't know if he ended up getting an AI. Hopefully we get to see more of him, because he's a major set piece in, you know, the mini series and the later seasons of like After Blood goes like season 6 and season 7. Into season, you know, season 6, 7, and 8 are very focal on Maine, you know, the meta being the antagonist of those seasons. So I don't know if he has an AI yet. We know that there's still a couple out there. There's the 2 that Carolina had, and then there's Sigma. But I don't know if Sigma was one of the 2 AI that Carolina had, or if Sigma was another freelancer's AI. Maybe that could have been Maine's, but I don't know, because I still don't know the 2 that Carolina got. So I think the top ranking, right, and this is where I'm going to kind of speculate right here. So the top rankings, again, Carolina, York, Wyoming, North Dakota, and South Dakota, right? So South Dakota is already on this kind of path. And it seems like the director is kind of driving a wedge between North and South in terms of family. Driving away, you know, severing family bonds, severing family ties. She eventually leads her brother to get killed. I don't know if she actually kills her brother, but it's based on the fact of, A, she's really reckless, very hot-headed. She got reprimanded. She doesn't have an AI, and she got demoted. But what's important to understand, and this is where my speculation comes into play, is this scene right here.
He still had Theta.
Well, I didn't find Theta on him, South.
Did you take it?
No, I don't have it.
Do you still have yours?
No, Wash, I never had one. I was in the implant group behind you, remember? And after what happened to you, nobody got any more.
Don't sound so bitter.
Of course not. Bitter wouldn't win the war, right?
So I don't know if the order that we're seeing on the board here is the order in which they were giving an AI, but South mentions that she was in the implantation group behind Washington. And then after what happened to him and Epsilon, nobody got any more AI. So based on the order of the board, is South Dakota going to get demoted again, making Washington go above her and then plummeting her into more resentment to everybody who is a freelancer, everyone who has an AI, and it's basically what CT said. She was like, you know what I mean? Like, they're driving a wedge between us. They're making us compete with each other instead of having us form a union with one another and being a team and kind of taking on these objectives, you know, as a group. But instead, he's having everyone value themselves over each other, questioning themselves, seeing, you know, right? Like, South Dakota doesn't seem to like Carolina, you know, probably because she's the star student. She's at the top of the rankings. You know, CT also feels the same way. She was like, some people make mistakes while others don't make any at all. So it's very much like a dog-eat-dog world for them. It's like, I have to be better than you to be on this list, to be important to the director, and to be important to this project. So I'm wondering, again, she mentions if this is the order in which they get an AI, that would then mean the implantation group behind Washington, which means Washington would have had to go before her, which means she would have had to then get demoted to switch the places again for her to be at the bottom, rank 6, and then after everything that happens with Epsilon, nobody after Washington gets any more. So I'm wondering if this means that South Dakota is going to get demoted again, and if this in turn is going to make it so she eventually resents not only the freelancers, but her brother as well, command, the director. She basically has the same resentment as CT, but a violent one, right? I don't think CT is going to go shooting up people and, you know, causing problems, you know, to get what she wants. But I think I think South Dakota is the more reckless and aggressive mindset compared to CT is pretty scorned as well, and South is scorned, but South will be willing to go to that extra extreme, which I don't think CT would do that. So that's really everything. That's kind of like my major speculation. I'm wondering if South is going to get demoted again, which is basically going to set everything in line if the selection process is in the order from best freelancer to worst freelancer of who gets an AI and who doesn't. And whatever, you know, basically after what happened with Epsilon, with Washington, South never got her freelance. She never got her AI, and that basically kind of sowed the seeds ultimately for her to take her brothers and to kill her brother and to kind of go AWOL in that regard. But ultimately, I hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts, theories, speculations, my overall thought process for the starting point. I am very sorry. I'm pretty sure this is going to be at least a 30-minute intro, which I don't see I don't see these getting any shorter as time goes on. This is going to be like a 30, 40-minute intro. My God. I definitely am going to be putting a timestamp for those of you who want to just get into the reaction. But without further ado, I appreciate you guys hearing me ramble for as long as I have been. We're going to be getting into episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12 for Red vs. Blue Season 9. Leave your thoughts in the comments as always. And without further ado, let us begin. All right, guys, we're going to be getting into Red vs. Blue Season 9. This is going to be my reaction batch to episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12 for you guys. So I hope you look forward to that. Leave your thoughts in the comments as always. And without further ado, we're going to be starting in 3, 2, 1, now. Oh, wow, it started really quick. These earthquakes seem to be getting... Oh, shit, they made Lopez! Oh, wow, nice!
I understand what you said, but you presented it in such a confident manner.
Okay, things are moving forward. So they have Lopez now.
Seems to be fitting in around here.
Yeah, I noticed.
He's pretty popular.
Awesome.
Yeah, even though no one understands him, people seem to really want to get past the rough robotic exterior and get to know the inner Lopez.
So happy for him.
Oh, great.
Me too. Wait.
Episode 9, Captive Audience. Is Simmons jealous?
My sarcastic meter.
Hey, notado.
I've noticed a pattern in the seismic activity. Yeah, like what the heck's up? Are these earthquakes like? Is the capture unit failing? It needs further study.
Oh, good one, Lopez. Man, you are
He doesn't understand him? Like, I mean... No, you don't understand me!
Man, all that and the guy's a comedian. God, I wish my sidekick could be funny like that.
Damn.
What's your problem, Simmons? What?
Wow!
Man, how could it be funny?
Simmons!
Whatever. I guess you just had to be
Simmons
there.
isn't your sidekick. Stop laughing, I need access to the following equipment. Seismograph, advanced size. Is it because, like, Lopez is a robot, so he has, like, sensors that can detect technological errors and whatnot? Everyone here is in danger. You need to listen to me. What if he knows about, like, something's happening because of the capture unit?
I just got that one, too. Boy, he really makes you think. It's like he's saying what we're all thinking.
Nope, it's like he's speaking a different language.
I'll show you who's likable and funny, and who people like.
Damn.
What's wrong with
Simmons
him?
is
I
jealous.
don't care. Hey, Donut, let's go hang out with Lopez. Great idea.
I'll show them.
That's complete.
I'll show them good.
That's the complete opposite of who they are. Nobody really messes with
It's
Lopez.
like when a computer tries to solve a problem. Do you know what recursion is?
Yeah, I love that movie.
No, it's like a thing where a computer tries a number of different iterations to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Then when it gets to the end, it returns all those solutions back up the line to the first iteration, and then it has its solution.
The
Does that make
cycle.
sense? You're saying
Going
you're
through
a
a
computer. No. Actually, yes. Yeah, sort of. I'm actually
Kinda.
I am a computer, kind of. I'm a computer program.
But your foot was bleeding.
And your breath kind of stinks. You know, I...
Damn, that's messed up, Caboose.
It's where I'll tell you the truth about each other.
Caboose, you're an idiot.
Well, I didn't realize how much words could hurt until it was my turn. I don't think I would play this on this game anymore.
No, I'm a real person in here because this is all constructed by memories of the person that I'm based on.
Okay.
Same as me. I'm all the memories of that guy. Who is
Yeah,
that? It's
the
another
Alpha.
program called Alpha, who was kind of a dick.
Oh.
And he was based on a guy named the Director,
The
who was
also kind of a dick.
Well, I can see you're
So
continuing the
you're
thread.
kind of a dick.
Yeah, I'm very proud.
Yeah.
What lineage?
I grew up on a moon.
Nobody cares.
You're all just jealous.
And this girl who's coming is that original guy's girlfriend.
Yeah, I think. I don't remember exactly.
Tex.
I thought you were that guy's memory.
So,
I mean, other guys.
oh my god, you're confusing me, stop!
He have a girlfriend.
No, wait. Maybe.
Dude, I don't know how any of you got any girlfriend spouting all this sci-fi bullshit. You guys ever talk about football, for God's sake?
Look, I just
Not
know
everyone's
I'm
a sports
supposed to meet
fan,
this
Tucker.
girl, and I'm supposed to fall in love.
And then what happened?
I don't know. We do whatever people
And then
do
you
when
get
they fall in
married and
love.
have
I'm asking you a
kids.
specific question. You should give me a specific answer.
Are you taking notes?
No.
Come on, Caboose.
Maybe.
My job is to solve this problem or pass it along. That's it. So you follow this girl down through the levels of the memory iterations, and you basically try to figure out how to make things work.
Pass
Even
it
though she doesn't like you.
down.
She likes me. She's just,
Mean.
Yeah, thanks, Caboose. She's mean.
Yeah, it was an easy guess.
Hey.
Because all girls are pretty much mean.
Can I just say, this might be the creepiest stalker scenario I've ever heard.
Alright,
And I'm
yeah,
thinking to myself,
honestly,
what
he's
if you
kinda
take
right.
this dead girl through a memory, and every time she escapes you, you either follow her down to the next set
Oh
of
my
memories,
god,
or
I love how he boils it
do
down
it all over again.
to that.
Stalkerish, that's romantic.
You know what the difference between stalking and romance is? Romance happens in movies. In real life, it's called stalking.
Well, maybe all of
Jesus.
this is happening inside of a movie.
Oh, please. Who the fuck would watch that?
Hey, what the heck?
All we ever do is stand around and talk.
What is that?
Hey, you dropped a grenade.
That's not mine. Caboose, pick that up.
I'm not
What
allowed
the hell?
to carry grenades,
Who dropped
remember?
that?
Because of that one exploding time, which was done.
Nani?
Well, I didn't
Oh!
drop it. Tucker, count yours.
Run, Church, you're gonna die!
Oh, right. Well, it has to be
Please
somebody.
don't die!
Fuck. Somebody threw a grenade at us, didn't they?
Yeah, we
What is
probably should've
happening?
figured that
What?
out sooner, right?
What's with the sun?
Hey, Wash, wait up. Listen, I heard you had a meeting with internals.
Washington North?
Yeah, do you mind if I ask what it was about?
Internals?
Not really supposed to talk about that. Help me out here. I'm still getting heat about using equipment in the field.
You did?
Oh,
Without a pipeline back to the command server?
I
The
had to
armor.
improvise. We had a problem.
Let me guess. Are you related to the problem?
Okay, now I don't want to talk about it.
Equipment in the field.
oh
Don't
my
forget what
gosh!
happened to you,
We're
Tucker.
getting interaction,
Lucky it didn't kill
freelancers!
you.
If I was lucky, I wouldn't have needed to use it at all.
Well, you can relax. Internals didn't ask about you. It was
Oh.
something else. Lots of
Who's
questions
that?
about the insurrection and
What the hell?
transmissions coming out of our... Sorry, sir. Hey, what's
Hello?
going on?
Who's running?
Where is everybody running?
New agent squaring off against Maine, Wyoming, and York on the Draringi
What?
floor.
A new agent?
You guys wait up.
Is it Tex?
I gotta see this.
The free... The...
Round begin.
Oh, she's here! They initiated the beta program! York, Wyoming, and Maine? No wonder they fucking hate her. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, what the heck?
Hey, Wash, wait up.
Is this a new episode?
heard you had a
Oh,
meeting
okay.
with the Eternals.
That's kind of weird how they like
Yeah,
recap
mind
what
if
we
I ask
just
what
saw
it was
like
about?
this far back.
Not really supposed to talk about that.
Oh
Help me
my
out
gosh.
here. I'm still getting heat about
So-
using equipment in the field.
You did?
A few episodes back, I mentioned it at the beginning of the video, but a few episodes back, I remember the director saying activate failsafe, initiating beta protocol or beta program. Episode 10, introductions!
If I was lucky, I wouldn't have needed to
So he's testing her. He's testing the new AI. The beta.
Lots of questions about the insurrection.
Wait, does that mean Alpha exists?
Hey, what's going on? Soldier, where is everybody?
I think Beta's the first AI.
Wyoming and York on the training room floor. We're going to watch.
3-on-1! I knew Tex was good.
Yeah, right behind you.
I knew Tex was good, but...
Round begins.
Oh my god, Maine! Wyoming and York!
What's going on down there? There's no training sessions on the schedule. It's impromptu. Who the hell is that? Some new recruit.
Oh...
He sure doesn't move like he's a recruit.
Why do you assume it's a
She!
guy?
Yeah!
She's a girl.
Oh,
Yeah!
I didn't really mean that he... I mean it... I mean her.
Right.
He's just messing with you.
Just shut up. Both of you, can it?
Come
Sounds
on!
like someone might be a little concerned about their position. Hey, South, pay attention. You might actually learn something if you stop running your mouth for a minute.
Oh. Well, I can tell they get along. Oh my god, Tex! You're here! And then Maine! Wyoming catches... Oh, this is so cool. I love how they're using, like, those stabs. Oh my god, she fucking broke it on him. Yeah, he's definitely gonna remember that.
Pugil sticks training complete. Point awarded to Texas. The
Texas.
current score is Team 1, 0
Texas,
points.
huh?
I thought that
Texas.
name was reserved.
1 point.
Nice moves.
Advantage
Could be luck.
Texas.
We'll see.
Huh.
Beginning hand-to-hand combat.
Oh
Round
my
2 in
god!
5,
This is
4,
so cool,
3,
man!
2, 1.
Yo,
Round
that
begin.
stance.
Okay, guys. This one should be easy.
York!
So let's just play it by the book. Maine, how about you flank left and then...
Oh! Nope, that's not gonna work.
Just charge in and get him mobilized first. Okay. Wyoming, let's stick together and...
Come on, pay attention! Listen to the
Am I the only one on
guy!
this team that knows how to talk?
I don't think talking's your problem.
Oh, no.
Ooh, careful! Oh, hand to hand, feels good, man. Oh,
Wow. Okay, that was pretty impressive.
yeah.
Okay, guys.
I want to see her
Obviously
face
didn't
off
work so
against
well.
Carolina.
About this time we stay in formation, and instead of like... Damn it.
Nobody
Can't
listens
believe I
to you,
actually
York. I'm sorry, bud.
volunteered for this crap.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. You guys are gonna get wrecked, but I'm praying for you guys. Wow, this is so clean. This is even better than season 9. I'm sorry, season 8. Oh my god! Wow!
Round 8. Point Texas.
Jesus
Hand-to-hand
Christ!
combat complete. Now resetting the floor for lockdown paint scenario.
I hate that paint. Tell me about it. Stings like a bitch.
Turns your armor
Is that
hard
the
as a
floor is
rock.
lava?
I wouldn't know. It's not bad if you don't let it hit you.
Thanks. I'll try to remember that.
Round
Okay.
3 in 5, 4.
Carolina's
3,
she has a
2,
very
1. Round
silver
begin.
tongue right there. Wait, what is this?
Maine! Look, I'm gonna move left. You go.
No, why is he growling
Just
still?
run out and do
Is that how he
whatever you want,
talks?
then get killed. Ready? Break. Good job, everybody.
What the
Oh
heck?
man, it's gonna be a long day.
Careful, dude. Careful, bud. I'd be shitting bricks right now. Oh no! Oh my god. She's in another league. She's in another league compared to these guys.
Texas.
Point to Texas, point to Texas. Poor York.
Wyoming. Hey, where is he? Can you say? You know what? Never mind, man. I think I figured it out.
Yeah. Oh, is that Jeff? Yes, new music. Let's go. Oh my god, this is too easy for her. Ooh. Just gonna be like bang, bang, bang. Yep, I knew it. I fucking knew it. Tex, you are a monster. I really want to see how she fares against Carolina. Oh! Ooh! Get him! Oh my god! Oh! Oh no! Oh my god! That's the worst! Motherfucker! Is this Texas theme? Jesus!
Yeah, advantage is the right word, Phyllis.
Round 9 begins in 5, 4,
Round
What are you
9.
guys doing?
2, 1.
What are they doing?
9 begins.
What the hell? What are you doing?
What? Are they using live rounds on the training floor?
Looks like it.
That's against protocol. They're going to kill her.
Probably.
Someone should get the director.
The director? Who do you think gave them the ammo?
Watch your mouth, CT.
Hey. Yo, they do not like each other. What the fuck, you guys? You guys are gonna get wrecked. Really? This is where it started? You hated her in training? She's still beating them. Whoa.
Hey, I'm trying to help.
I don't need your help. Never abandon your team.
Okay. I mean, his team's trying to literally kill you. Oh! It doesn't even matter! It doesn't even fucking matter, dude. Oh! Careful, Tex! York! York, please, you don't, no. Just stay where you are, dude. Maine, stop! What? No! Watch out, watch out, watch out! Oh, no, 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 no!
Damn it, those maniacs. Phyllis, we need a medical team to the training floor stat.
That's how he lost his eye! Is that how he lost his eye? What the hell? Am I missing? What the heck just happened?
Hey!
That's really close thinking.
Damn it, those maniacs. Phyllis, we need a medical team to the training floor stat.
Medical team en route.
I'm pretty sure he mentioned in the miniseries he lost an eye.
Get over here now.
What the fuck? What the hell's up with Wyoming and Maine? Like, why are they trying to kill her?
She did that to him. Shot his armor, sacrificed him.
Lockdown hardens the armor. She probably
Yeah, she saved him. What the hell?
Yeah.
Lifting the veil.
Really quick.
Everyone, stand down.
Oh,
Now.
the director!
You should be ashamed of yourselves. I expect you to act as a team.
They use live ammunition on the floor, sir. That's against regulation.
Do you think our enemies will care about regulations on the battlefield, Agent Washington?
Oh,
You're
yep.
not punishing them?
Ingenuity and adaptability are admirable traits.
It cracked his mask.
Dismissed.
Oh, the director wears glasses like I do.
Learn something, all right.
I can't believe this.
Don't forget to check your place on that list, Wash.
Don't touch me.
Interesting.
Take me back to the director.
What is?
What the hell was that? I can't see.
Oh, the grenade! Oh my god! Hold on. Pause. What the fuck? What the hell? Holy shit! Way to make an introduction, Tex! Holy crap! That was awesome. That was so freaking cool. So he was trying to teach them teamwork, but you fail them from the beginning when you make when your whole construct of the freelancers being on this bracket, like being on this leaderboard system, you inherently make them compete against each other. They're gonna see each other as enemies, not as comrades, not as teammates. Right, you got York over there trying his best, like trying to get everyone to work together, and they're like, yo, I'm gonna do my own thing, you do your own thing, we'll try to figure this out as we go. And I'm not sure if the director did in fact lead them to do that, like to use the grenades and the live ammunition, or if that's something that they did, but he was like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, in the field, like, that's how it's gonna be. Like, it's life or death, so you can't penalize them. And that's why I mentioned at the beginning, I was like, the director is not about protocol, and he's not about guidelines. He's about, like, continuity. He's about, like, doing whatever is necessary, right? Necessity is the mother of invention, and that's the name of their ship, and everything they're doing is a necessity. And so, Washington, man, he's, like, he's so not Washington, he's so not him. And I'm really fascinated by that, because it's like, I want to see the development. I want to see what was the turning point for him. Like, what made him snap, right? Like, right now he's all about, like, but that's against the rules, and, we should be following orders, and, like, they're not going to get in trouble, they're not going to get punished. Like, he's a Boy Scout, basically. He's a Boy Scout to a T, as of right now. Right, you got CT who's kind of like reinforcing to him. He's like, hey, you better check where you are on that placement on the list, Wash. Like, basically kind of like mocking him based on their last conversation. None of them like each other, right? You got Carolina and South going back and forth. You got, like, they're all just kind of like giving each other the quick tongue. And, like they're all very much not teammates. They're all just in competition with one another, and that's going to get in the way. And I don't know what the director's thinking in that regard. He was like, you guys are supposed to work as a team, but you inherently set them up to not work as a team when at the end of the day, they're all in competition to be at the top of that list for whatever reason. They probably don't even know. They're just vying for the best chance of being in your good graces. Holy shit, dude. Wow. Like, I thought season 8 was crazy, right? Like how Tex went up against Wyoming. I'm sorry, she did go up against Wyoming, but season 8, she went up against Maine and Washington at the same time, right? And I thought that was crazy. But then again, they're probably in their, I don't want to say they're in their rookie days, but like, this is years ago. Like, they've had so much more time, like, in the field to reinforce their freelancer craft, if you will. So, but I'm really surprised that, like, she just comes into the fray and just bodies 3 freelancers at once. That's probably why Wyoming and Maine give her a hard time in the present, or, like, by Blood Gulch and whatever, and Season 7 and Season 8 and whatnot, because it's like, hey, I remember the first time I met you and you whooped my ass and I didn't really appreciate it that much, and I tried to kill you with live rounds in a training simulation. Damn, man. And yeah, so the beta is active. And she's a byproduct of the alpha. So the alpha already being tortured? Right? Like, she's the first AI, I would think, like, right? Alpha, beta, gamma, so on and so forth. So I think the beta was the first to be extracted from the AI, or a byproduct of its creation. And so alpha exists somewhere. He's somewhere in the world right now. Probably somewhere on the ship. Like, classified and behind locked doors or whatever. So the other AI have not been created yet, but obviously he's beginning his first program with, the AI based on his wife. So I'm wondering how that's going to work. Wow, that was a really good sequence. A training sequence of just friendly introductions. All right, we're going to be continuing in 3, 2, 1, now. I thought that grenade was going to kill Church to basically continue the continuity.
What? Oh my god, are we under attack? Is it the Reds? I don't know, I can't see anything.
Oh yeah, who threw that, by the way? I completely forgot about that. Someone threw that.
For totally different reason. What? Caboose, stop.
Why are you guys yelling?
You can't hear. Get up there.
Oh, because they got flashbang, they can't hear.
You're deaf. Oh no. I had so much to that for. No, you didn't.
Whoa.
What was that?
Careful.
Something just hit me. Something just hit me too. Is it another grenade?
Oh, they're blinded. Okay.
Open fire. Get some. Take that, fucker.
Oh! Is that Tex?
What a bunch of idiots.
Oh my god, she's here! Oh my god!
Yeah, okay, buddy, whatever you say.
Things are going according to plan! Except Church didn't have to die! Since we'll all die in a clean
You said
vehicle?
it. Now come on, chop. Back to work, buddy. Let's hear the less talk I don't understand and see more work I don't want to do.
How's it going out here?
Great.
Griff's the
Never been so
slacker.
clean.
That's because
Lo and
you're not
behold.
the one cleaning it.
Good point. You know, Sergeant,
Wow,
all the
I love
time
this
the
episode
system,
badge.
It's been really underutilized. I never reached my full potential. I just realized I should be in management.
You do seem like a
Oh
natural.
god,
It's the
god
best job
no.
ever. You just tell people what to do, and they do it. And if you don't have anything for them to do, you just tell them to do something they did before, but do it better this time.
Yeah, that's management to an extent.
Sorry, what? I'm on break.
Come in, Lopez.
Oh!
Lopez, come in.
Oh, okay.
This is a secure channel. Lule.
I read
This
you.
is Flying Eagle. I have
Flying
a secret
Eagle?
mission for you.
Flying Eagle?
Actually, it's Simmons. We're using code names on this mission, Lopez, because it's top secret.
Why don't I get a code name then?
I need you to come to the cave and investigate something. It's top secret.
He's gonna try to
Don't
kill you!
tell
He's
Dodd
jealous!
or
Run!
Griff or Donut or anyone else I didn't mention.
You could have just said, don't tell anybody. That would have been fast.
Okay. See you in the cave.
I love this
Alone
version.
And unarmed. You can also come in with your eyes closed if you want. For secrets.
Oh, this seems suspicious. I love this Lopez. Also, my eyes don't close, they turn off.
It is an honor to be selected. You are right. Flying Eagle out.
Why was I shipped to this unit? What's he? What are these earthquakes, dude? Like, that's what I really want to know.
The perfect plan.
Puma battery!
Walk into the water, which I've electrified using A, this battery, and B, my incredible knowledge of how batteries work. The resulting shock will short him out, and all the guys will see that I'm
That's
the funny
fucked
smart
up,
one who's
dude.
good at math and not having emotions.
You are...
Hola.
Hey, you're pretty fucked
Hi,
up,
Lopez.
dude.
I was just down here investigating our mission. Hey, why don't you come over here through that big puddle? No.
I heard you say that. Oh my god, you idiot! He heard you! I have no idea why humans need to speak out loud when they think. Hello? Reaction channels on YouTube. I think out loud. You're trying to damage me.
Seriously, this way. Just walk into that puddle. I mean, the regular puddle. The one that's...
You better hope you don't walk through that puddle by mistake.
Forget I mentioned the puddle. No puddle there. That's dry. Optical illusion.
You are very bad at this. Tell me about it.
Please, come on!
I would just go around and see another way in.
No! Wait!
No! You idiot! I knew it! I knew it! Oh lord, give me a break. I knew it. You moron. And Simmons is dead. Oh, what the hell?
Am I dead? I see my body.
He's got red armor!
Heaven?
I am taking your place on Ritter. What the hell is happening?
Why is my body speaking Spanish?
He's got a ball and chain on his leg!
Heaven by mistake? That's like white people hell. No.
Replacing you is the only way I can get access to the equipment I need to research these quakes.
I knew it. You just wanted to become super popular so you could take my place.
Do you really need to go that far? I wouldn't need to be super popular to do. Ooh, that's fucked up.
You're gonna regret this, Lopez.
I don't see how.
Regret this.
That doesn't even make sense! Oh my god, what a weird subplot for the Reds.
It's simple. If we have less hours to do work,
Why
we get more
are these
done
earthquakes
in less
happening?
time. It's all ratios.
Hola. We're in Sam
Uh-oh. You don't speak English!
You sound weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're speaking a foreign language. But you're speaking very slowly and clearly, so I understand what he means.
Me too.
What have you been up to?
Really? You know, the usual human things like... Speaking of, I really have to go to the bathroom right now, actually, so... How much time's left? Alright, 6 minutes.
Didn't understand that one. Me neither.
Speaking of urinating...
Good point.
Please excuse me. I guess because he's a robot, he can sense, like, something's wrong in this alternate computerized version.
Oh, man.
Tex! Oh my gosh, she's back!
Man,
I can't believe she just showed up like that.
More fun the night before. What? Ow, Caboose, stop yelling. Someone give me an aspirin.
You guys are babies.
Babies?
Babies?
Chucked a grenade at us, you stupid bitch.
There's a big difference between a flashbang and a grenade.
I love you, Church. I love you so much.
I wouldn't have to have this stupid conversation right now. I would just be
mid-game substitution.
This is your girlfriend, I take it?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, Tucker, Tex, Tucker. Sup? Hello. Our people meeting other people.
Oh God, Caboose! I feel like Caboose isn't affected by the flash. This is just Caboose.
Why would you attack us? Aren't you coming all the way out here to help us?
Hey, I needed to evaluate the situation. I heard someone was dead. I show up here and 3 idiots are standing around arguing. I'm not walking into that blind.
So you made us.
Oh, boo-hoo. It's non-lethal.
What is happening?
That's supposed to make us feel better? A kick in the balls would be non-lethal too.
That depends on who does the kicking.
Is that a threat?
True.
How about we just call it an experiment? See what happens.
Oh my God, Tex! I'm happy to see her too. Is that new? Oh yeah, it's Halo Reach armor. That's pretty dope.
We thought we should bury our dead teammate and then take his name off the roster so that no one could prove he was never here. We did?
What?
Yes, because that's what she is here to investigate, Tucker. And if that
he's
guy
trying to play it up.
exist,
Okay.
Why would she stick
He was
around?
supposed to die, but because he didn't, it's gonna set things awry.
Guy who didn't die, not the one guy who did die.
Whoa. Why did you remove him from the roster?
I don't know. Seemed appropriate at the time.
Huh.
You know, it's like a respect thing.
What was his name?
Anderson Smith.
Hold on.
Anderson or Smith?
Pause. I wonder if they'd be able to use Cappy as a replacement, because technically he was the first one to die in Blood Gulch, though he died of, you know, I think he died of like aspirin, like he was like an allergic reaction to like aspirin or something like that. But technically he was the first one dead, and they had to like replace him with Church, but that was long before this happened. And Caboose wouldn't have the memories to be able to fill the gaps of that. But yeah, I mean, if Epsilon remembered that, or I guess he wouldn't, he would never have the memories. I'm just kind of cross-referencing what I know compared to what they could know. All right, 3, 2, 1, play.
Ander Smith.
Ander Smith.
Ander Smith?
Oh, Mr. Ander Smith. I'll always miss you. You were too young to die.
Caboose.
He was 10 seconds old. Shut up, Tucker.
Jesus.
Hey, Griff. Have you seen Simmons?
Oh.
Yeah, we're working on some equipment together. Together?
That's
yeah,
not
up the hill to need my help.
Simmons.
So I said, no problem. I'll be there in a few minutes. When was that? About 5 hours ago.
Oh.
Yikes.
So, how's the project going?
Well, he hasn't asked for help again, which means I haven't had to think of a new excuse, so I'd say it's going great. What's he doing? I don't know. He's got some new toys or something up there. I guess he's testing them out. Toys? Yeah.
Toys is a broad term, Griff.
Uh-oh.
It can mean a lot of things.
Gadgets.
Oh,
Go
God.
on. Electronic devices.
Jesus.
I think I'll go check this out for myself.
You do that.
Come on, Donut.
Get free a little.
Hey, what's up, Simmons? How's the old ball and chain?
There, I'm free. Now to take my place on Red Team again. Man, Lopez was right. I do say my thoughts out loud a lot.
Yep.
Why I do that? I'm still doing it. I really should try to stop. Okay, that was the last one.
Okay, you can stop.
Hey, I did it. No, I mean...
You can stop.
Man, do you read me? This is Freelancer Tex reporting in.
Roger that, senor.
Oh, Vic is here too!
Okay, I just need to make sure she sticks around for a little while, you know, so I can talk to her a little bit more. And investigating this dead guy is going to be a good distraction.
But you made up a guy out of nowhere and then killed that guy just to have a chance to talk to your girlfriend.
No, it's like a net, whatever you call it.
Hashtag worth.
You know, he didn't exist before and he doesn't exist now. No harm, no foul, right?
Dude, you seriously got to look into this stalker thing. You miss who?
It's romantic, Tucker.
Here's a reminder of how close we all are just to not being here one day.
He wasn't here any days, idiot.
Aw.
He doesn't exist.
Oh, how can you say that? Don't you believe in the afterlife?
Afterlife implies life
Yeah.
at some point. He didn't have one.
He didn't exist.
He had hopes and dreams.
He was a dream.
Yes, he was. To all of us.
Oh my God, Caboose, stop.
I'm actually less worried about you now, and I'm more worried about Caboose.
Caboose, he didn't exist. You never knew anyone
Poor guy.
named Andersmith. None of us did.
Denial is an important stage in grieving.
Yeah, apparently denial is an important part of reality, too.
Yeah.
Take it from the guy who calls that chick his girlfriend.
Roger that.
Jeez.
Over and out, Command.
What is happening?
Oh, shit. She's done with her call. Quick, talk about something else. Like what? Anything. Okay. You know what? I think you're right, Tucker. Cows can't talk. But maybe they can't talk because just no one ever taught them how to do that.
Okay.
Right? That might
You
be the worst
idiot.
ad-lib
Yeah.
You just blew my mind with the cow thing.
That ain't hard, dude.
All right, here's the deal. I'm gonna stick around until we get this dead guy thing solved.
Oh, really?
All right.
Well, that's
that works.
great.
That works for them.
Isn't that perfect, Tucker? Don't gloat.
It's Miss Scary. I have a question. How are we going to fix the dead guy being dead?
Oh, we're not.
Oh.
We're gonna even the teams. Come on, let's go up the hill and kill one of the Reds.
Oh.
Then I can get out of this blood puddle.
Dear.
Hey, I'll even let you pick which one. Come on, let's go.
Well, this sounds like fun.
Yeah, define fun, buddy.
The red we kill. Hey, Church, pick the fat guy.
Oh dear. Is Donut gonna die again? You know, because he died in reality already? Or maybe Lopez, because he's got backup files, so he can create more of himself again. Oh my goodness. What a batch. It was really centered around Tex mainly, because she came, like, we got a flashback of her in the past of her introduction in the training course, and then boom, all of a sudden out of nowhere she just shows up again. And I guess it was true. I guess Church just had to wait there. He just was like, he had to just sit there and have her come to him instead of him, like, stalking her, basically, is what Tucker basically mentioned, which is kind of funny. So this was actually an interesting batch. I kind of liked, more than anything, I think my favorite part, like I mentioned at the beginning of my reaction during, like, my main discussion, I really wanted to see freelancer interaction, right? Like, right at the beginning, you know, of the flashback, we saw Wash interacting with York, and then we got to see the rest of the freelancers up in the, you know, the observation deck as they were looking over Texas matchup with Maine, York, and Wyoming, and it's very clear that none of them like each other. Like, none of them are buddy-buddy, really. I mean, even the brother-sister, even North and South, they're eventually going to have this rift driven between them because of the director and because of the disparity between their rankings and one having an AI and the other one not having an AI, and that eventually is going to lead to, you know, conflict, you know, even between families. So I feel like really no one here is getting along with each other. You know, Washington is the naive member of the bunch. You know, Carolina, I feel like maybe she's the babysitter. You know, she was the one that was like, hey, you know, South, if you paid attention and shut your mouth, you might learn a thing or two. And I don't know, I just feel like everyone just can't stand each other's guts. York is the only one that I feel has some sense of, you know, maturity for himself, and I mean, he's ranked 2, so he's right under Carolina, so he's not like the apex star student, perfect specimen, but at the same time, you know what I mean, like, he seems to be a little bit more responsible and mature for the gang, you know what I mean? Like, he was the one that was like, hey, let's all come together, let's work together, let's form a plan, you know, he's a team player, and I'm really happy that Delta was given to him over everybody else, because I feel like his personality really synergizes well with Delta's logic thinking. So I'm really hoping we get to see more of him in that regard. And yeah, I remember the miniseries I remember, like, it was just like mentioned offhand. He said something along the lines of like, you know, how's your eye? And he says something along the lines of like, oh, thanks to you, or something like that. So I never knew like that she had that direct of an impact on why he lost his eye. I mean, she tried to save him for the most part. So like, you know, a damaged eye is way better than being dead, you know. But I don't understand Maine and Wyoming's case, because it's like, unless the director was like, hey, take it to that level, because I want to test her absolute like maximum capacity, you know what I mean, like life or death at that point, and she was just bodying them no matter, like 10 rounds in, and it took them, you know, getting to the point of like actually trying to kill her, that, you know, like they just kaput. We got to see the director, which is really great. I'm wondering if Maine even has a voice actor, right? Because he still growls, and I thought like that growling was more of a what's the word I'm looking for? A more feral. I thought it was like a sign of him being feral after kind of giving into all of the AI being a part of him at once. You know what I mean? Like, they mentioned, like, some people struggle with one AI, and then you had Agent Carolina who had 2 AI. That probably drove her crazy. And then you had the Meta who had every single one of the AI within him, and I can only imagine that just destroyed his consciousness to where he turns out to be this person who just growls and snarls and stuff like that, and that's like the remnants of who he is now. But it seems like he still does it to this day, so I don't really know if he even has a persona or like a personality, or if he talks, or if he has, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know. And we didn't get any words from Wyoming. I know he has like is it a British accent? I think it is. But yeah, we didn't get anything out of him. I don't know if we're going to, like, if the voice actor for him is still around, you know, season 9, a couple seasons after Blood Gulch, and, you know, his initial appearance in the show. So, I mean, I'm not really too upset about that. I just really want to see, more so now than ever, because the Tex is in the mix now. And I remember, like I said, I mentioned at the beginning and again during the reaction, but in the first couple of episodes, the director activated the failsafe and they initiated the beta program, which I guess, like, again, I think that they took snippets or samples of Carolina's fighting style and adapted that into how Tex fights. Maybe that's why Carolina was, like, interesting, right? You know what I mean? Like, maybe she saw, like, a mirror image of herself in how in how Tex carries herself, you know? And it's very clear that they're both, like, at first glance, they're very much on the same level. You know, for how Carolina was fighting those grunts a few episodes back to how Texas fought. You know, she fought Maine and she fought Washington back in season 8, how she fought the Reds and the Blues, how she fought the 3 freelancers here. It's very clear that her fighting style mirrors that of Carolina's, so I think that's what he was doing. He was like, let me take my star pupil, let me take my best freelancer, let me copy everything that it is about her into this beta program that is the memories of my wife and my special, you know, project, you know, my special, you know, side project, and make that the best that it can be as well. So I do think that is the case, and why, you know, even from Carolina's introduction, it was very clear that they were trying to fake out that was Tex. So maybe that's the parallel that they're going for here. So she is an AI construct in physical form, as a freelancer now, Agent Texas, Tex for short, of course, and that would then mean that the alpha exists. Also, can someone answer this for me, right? There was one, it was during the memo between the oversight subcommittee chairman and Dr. Leonard Church, where the UNSC chairman, he said something along the lines of, like, you were granted the use of 1 artificial intelligence for implantation experimentations. Does that mean that the UNSC granted them the alpha? Or did Project Freelancer create the alpha? You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, if they were granted that, then who created the alpha? If it's based on if the director didn't, like, my understanding is that, okay, the director would have had to have created it because it's based on the director. It's based on his mind, so it would be weird if it was created some other way. But then if the director didn't create it, how did the UNSC grant them access to use an artificial intelligence? Or maybe maybe like Project Freelancer created it and the UNSC gave them the okay to use it, you know, for experimentations. And then it got out of hand because they just copied it, you know, into all the AI that we know of now. That was one thing that was a little confusing, and I think I forgot to mention it at the beginning of my reaction. I have no idea because I rambled in my I rambled at the beginning for like 30-40 minutes, so I might have brushed over that. But yeah, that's something that I was actually wondering, because it kind of goes back to the idea of, like, okay, well, the alpha was created and Tex was created by proxy. And at this point, this is the earliest stages of the alpha before the torture begins and before the other AI start being created and distributed, and then Project Freelancer really gets its sea legs going. with everything that's going to be going on. And I know the next batch of reactions is going to be a long one because Georgia has set episodes 13 through 17. I guess a major plot sequence is going to be happening in the course of those 5 episodes, and she wants all 5 of those episodes to be included in one video so there's no breakaways or waiting a week to kind of figure out what happens next, or, splitting them off into 2 videos or whatever. So maybe next week will be the big shebang of maybe seeing the Alpha for the first time, seeing his torture, how they extract and create the artificial intelligence. Only time will tell. But ultimately, I did enjoy the episode. I think what's going on with Blood Gulch is very interesting. Like, we're getting a lot of seismic activity, and like obviously they're inside the capture unit. That's all a memory going on. But at the end of the day, I'm wondering if that means that maybe somebody on the outside is trying to open the capture unit, or maybe it's signs that the capture unit is like under a lot of stress and it's eventually going to shut off and shut down like for good. Because I remember before the season ended, they mentioned that like they're gonna have to keep the memory unit online and try to get it somewhere to open it. So eventually they can access it. So I'm just wondering how long that's going to be. And maybe the seismic activity is, maybe it's being affected from the outside. Maybe it's being like knocked around and thrown around and tossed around and whatnot, and that's affecting what's happening on the inside of the memory unit. Tex is also back in the memory unit. Lopez exists, but obviously everything is crazy and wonky. Like, he has his own little objective he's trying to get to. Simmons is not Simmons at all, especially after Lopez came through. It's like Lopez was a little anomaly for him, which was really strange. Tex is going to stick around for a little bit. I don't know if that means Doc is going to come into the mix. Vic is still around too. We heard him on over the radio. So I'm just confused. I'm not confused, but I'm a little perplexed with, like, okay, if this alternate thing is going along, it's basically what Church mentioned at the beginning. It's like a computer program just goes through every sequence available or possible, and then it just snaps everything back to the beginning and starts all over again. And he basically said the same thing. He was like, my job is to try to find a way to fix it, and if I can't fix it, pass it on to somebody else and start the whole thing over. So I think that might be the cycle that they're talking about. Like, we could very well be in the sequence of a cycle. Maybe this has happened before. And we're seeing the process for the first time. So I'm not entirely sure, but I'm very excited to see how things work overall and how things are going to develop, especially with the next set of episodes. We're going to have this major plot sequence apparently, so I'm really excited for that. Probably is going to take place with the freelancers and whatnot, but Tex's introduction was badass. 3v1 against 3, freelancers, which is absolutely insane. Fight choreography was incredible, clean, really well done, especially a lot better than the season 9 one as well. And I can't wait to see what else this season has to offer. Again, like I said, I hope we get to see a little bit more of the AI creations and the interaction between the AI and their freelancer companions. Hopefully everything's well with York. That's another cool thing too, that they tied in York losing his eye to the reference that they mentioned of it way back during the first miniseries, the Out of Mind miniseries, which was pretty crazy. But yeah, that's everything. Those are all my initial thoughts of the reaction. I will, see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. Leave your thoughts of anything that I mentioned in the comment section, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.